Thank you, Josh. Welcome. We'll keep it short. However long it takes to drink a bottle of Nantucket nectar. All right. Did everyone have a chance to sign the attendance sheet?
No.
Okay, it's still coming around. All right. Just make sure you sign in on that. And just wanted to thank you for coming to today's meeting. We had planned this meeting to be able to give you good news. That's why we picked this date a few months ago. So we're lucky we do have some good news coming your way and some work to do, and just trying to get in touch with all of you to let you know our next steps. So I'm going to turn it over to the mayor right now, if you'd like.
Sure. Well, hi, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Yes, good news. We had an MSBA meeting on the 18th. Yep. And we were invited into the feasibility stage. We have completed our requirements under the eligibility phase. Now we're going into feasibility, which is really the process where we start to hone in on hiring the different partners that we're going to have throughout this process. And obviously, the owner's project manager would be first, then the design team, the architect, and then finally the construction team that we'll be working with. So major decisions that are going to be upcoming over the next few months, next several months, that are really going to dictate how this goes, and we really want to obviously make sure we get the right team in place around us. I'm very appreciative of everybody. I feel like we have a good team ready and waiting and all set to move forward when it's needed, and I think we're getting to that point where it is starting to happen, where we're going to start to need everybody's hands on deck here. A lot of the meetings we've had in the past are really just informational, trying to keep everybody updated, but now I think is when the work's going to start to happen here as we get ready for these next phases. And it's very exciting, but we're going to need people to help with tours of existing schools that have opened recently, people that are going to help with selection of the key team members coming up, people who are going to really focus on construction for us, review. We'll be breaking into smaller committees where I'll ask some people here, Beverly, Josh, and I will ask some people here to head up some of these committees that are going to focus on specific tasks and action items and things. So it's exciting, and we're almost at that stage right now. So, but wanted to have a quick meeting just to share that good news and say about things that are going to start happening here over the next few months. So, yeah, I think that's good.
All right. The next item on the agenda is actually just to explain to you about Module 2. That's what we're going into with that MSBA, with the feasibility phase. So part of that is that we're going to be forming an OPM selection committee. And I'm going to have Dan and Sam explain that process. It's kind of detailed. It's really important because we want to make sure that we're advertising to get the people that we want to work on this project. Your OPM is key. And they really have a great role in this project. So Dan, if you'd like to start, you jump in just to give folks an idea of what's coming.
We are now in the Module 2 phase, and a selection of the OPM is the first task ahead of us after a couple of votes that are going to be needed from the building committee. It's not that much different than the Welch, when we did selection of the Welch. And speaking of OPM from the Welch, we have Christine here from Doran Whittier kind of watching as in and as an interested party. What the names and people who will be working on this, both as voting and scoring members, and also those who participate in the interviews, will get us to the point of a package first that the MSBA approves for the actual document. We go out on the street, and then approve. Interestingly enough, they do not ask us to vote on the actual OPM selection, which is kind of strange, what they do require and what they don't require. But there's a package of information that I'm ready to send out as soon as the names are prepared to help us start drafting the OPM document. And then some background based on the briefing that we did with the MSBA team last week. So I'm ready to go. We've done it before. It's just a much bigger project than it was last time. But I think there were a lot of valuable lessons learned. Back to the Higgins, we didn't have an OPM review panel. We have to do that. They provided us with some dates for when you make presentations to the panel and prepare all your information. I have some thoughts about timing. And that's where we're at.
The only thing I would add, and Dan and I went to the same, what we'll call orientation. And it's funny, the mindset, but I agree with Dan. In that, my mindset was let's accelerate and get the earliest possible cycle. But to do that would require public meetings during August, which doesn't make a lot of sense if we want a full community, opportunity for community input. And so the date, I think, has us going to the MSBA, I think the first week in December, and then the process leading up to it. So once we put a request, which Dan has largely done, a request for qualifications, then it hits the central register. Then I'm sure we have a short list, or Dan has a short list of companies that are big enough and experienced enough for a project. And that gave me some assurance that it'd be nice to get ahead of everybody, but by virtue of the size of this project, there's not going to be much competition for the kind of OPMs we're looking for. I think the other thing that's important, and it'll be the same with the construction, the CM at risk, is companies have reputations, but you want, for a project of this size and scope, you want the A team, with the A company. You don't want the D team with the A company. So, I think that's as important. Screening what jobs they have and how loaded are they with work. So, because we deserve their full attention, especially for the fee that they're probably going to get for the full project. But I'm excited about it. I look forward to working with Dan and the rest of the team.
Okay, I'm going to jump in there and explain what we're doing next. We're going to have a committee of approximately 10 people that will meet and will formulate the qualities that we're looking for in the OPM and the phrasing that we're going to use in the ad, which goes into the central register. It's a place where all the builders and OPMs and architects, they know to look there for work with the MSBA. That is governed, that ad is governed by a calendar, and I know, having worked with Dan before, we'll go backwards from the date when it can be placed and work backwards to the days when we will meet. I will tell you the definites on that committee, and then some of you can expect a call from the mayor to ask if you would like to serve. The responsibilities and the commitment on that is a couple of meetings to form the language in the ad and prepare the process for placing that ad and then being able to go through the MSBA process, but also to be able to interview the people who qualify. And part of that is actual interviews with companies that make the cut, and then following up by calling their references. And you would call as a member of that selection committee to check on the references of school communities where these businesses have worked. And that's always interesting too. So what you're getting right now is an MSBA calendar. This is what Dan and Sam were talking about, and we have to follow it carefully. We're bound by those dates, and they're pretty good. We'll be okay with it. Right now, the definite people on that committee are Dan and Sam, and we're gonna figure out who votes on the candidates. But it's Dan and Sam, Brooke, the mayor, and me, Josh, and then Jim Politano. Okay. Then we have a few more that we're gonna fill in, and like I said, the mayor will talk to you. And I apologize because we were going to get a note out to those folks to ask you about this, and I didn't get it done in time to be able to announce you today. But believe me, you'll be on there and you'll be busy. Okay. So the process is actually pretty straightforward. MSBA gives you the language you're going to use, and they only give you a few blank spaces to include your own language in there. And Dan gives them a run for their money because he proposes good language in the paperwork to make sure that Peabody's getting what we want. Dan, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, I've handed out the 2025 review panel meeting dates, and based on where I think we can be with what we have to notify the MSBA about at this point, again, the working backward exercise, I think we can get everything done by November, for the November 3rd presentation. I've highlighted that run in the handout. We will need two directives from the committee. First is we need to have a vote on the names of the selection committee. And second, they have asked us to notify them of what date we want to hold for the review panels. There are 3 districts in our little cohort. Ourselves,
Milford,
and
Westford.
yeah. And then only one of them has something even remotely similar to us. So we're the big dog in the fight. And what I'm hoping is if we agree on the November recommendation, I can contact our handlers at MSBA and say we want to be the only one in the schedule that day. I want them to only concentrate on us. So those are the 2 action items out of the orientation that we had last week. I'm ready to hit the send button on a whole package of information for those who are on the scoring group and who will be also participating, not scoring, but interviewing. Because the interview, we can do interviews. They want it scripted, which is fine. But I think there are people who actually have a benefit in not scoring, but asking good questions. I don't score because I see everything that comes in, and I don't want to be biased in any way. But that's how we want to structure it, and that's how we did it with Welch.
Exactly. Dan, today, do we need to vote on the makeup of the selection committee and the interview committee, or just the selection committee?
Just selection,
Selection.
and if you agree to the recommendations for November.
Okay, all right. Why don't we take a second? I want to run something by the mayor, and I apologize, I'm putting him on the spot, but this was the list we had talked about. Can you read my writing?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm distracted because we're trying to coordinate tomorrow's budget meeting, and I'm worried about the Wigan Auditorium because it's going to be like 100 degrees tomorrow night for the meeting. And we're trying to coordinate to get some cooling units there, so I'm sorry, I'm distracted. And I'm texting, Julie's texting, Jim's texting, so I apologize that I've kind of been in and out in this meeting.
When you had stepped out, I listed the people who basically knew: Dan and Sam, Brooke, me, you, Jim Politano. I didn't tell anyone else because I didn't want to put them on the spot, but if we need to vote on them today, let's.
Oh, we don't have to vote on it today, do we?
Yeah,
We have to
we
vote
should.
on them today,
We
like
should,
today?
I'm sorry.
If we don't do it today, when are we gonna meet again? And again, working backwards from November, because
We should do it,
the next meeting, what would be middle of July,
right,
and then getting everybody together.
in an air-conditioned location.
And with basically only one thing on the agenda.
Yeah.
So.
And it would be a working meeting. It would be a working meeting where the people assembled would be discussing language and, deciding on what we want to put into the ad. So it gives you a really good flavor for what the project entails, what we're looking for. We had talked about these at the meeting, the beginning of the month. So this was, that was where I had the question right here.
And I wanna do a site visit here prior to the start of school. I wanna get the questions in and then give people enough time. I'm looking at maybe getting responses back the second week of September.
And that's a site visit for people who apply to become the OPM.
Yeah.
I,
I know.
I'm sorry, I don't want to make a decision today. These decisions are too important. I kind of have in my head 3 committees that are going to be set up for each of the kind of the 3. I think we're going to have to set up another meeting. I'm not prepared or ready to select tonight. I can read your writing, but I'm not. I think we need to.
That's down the road.
Okay.
You gotta follow the arrows too.
I didn't, was expecting it to go, okay.
John?
Can we do a virtual, if we need a meeting just to vote, can we do that virtually, or do we have to be in person? Publicly, virtually, can we do that?
We could do a virtual.
Just for ease of everybody else, and obviously the mayor's.
We could do a virtual meeting. I will tell you that it would have to be taped by PATV to maintain the record of that. We could do a virtual meeting, because I know a lot of people are gonna be away in July on vacations, if not,
That's
by tomorrow. So,
what I was worried.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think these decisions would be too important to not kind of think this through, because I think we've kind of put all of us together because I think each of us can play an important role in a number of these items, and I think this is critical that we make the right groups for the different tasks that we have in front of us. So I think we just need a little more time to talk that through and talk to people. I kind of wanted to talk to people individually rather than having it just announced. So I'm sorry, I think we're gonna have to hold on.
It's okay.
That's my recommendation.
We still need to vote on the November
We
3rd
should
date.
still vote on that November 3rd date, absolutely.
It's gonna mean a little bit more work and fast.
It
but
will.
I can get caught up.
Okay, all right. Why don't I ask, would anyone like to make a motion that we request an OPM review panel, I'm trying to think of what's RPM, everything's initials on this, review panel meeting of November 3rd.
Make the motion to have an OPM review panel meeting, planning
Okay,
dates November 3rd.
thanks, Dave. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Rule. Okay, all in favor of that date? Anyone opposed? Okay. All right, and then, let's see, if we can set up a virtual meeting to vote on the membership of the OPM Selection Committee, would folks be able to do that in two weeks? No, let's see. July 7th is 2 weeks from today. Any time during that week, would that work for folks? Maybe Wednesday the 9th? Okay, that's something to shoot for? Okay, and I know, if you're away, have fun, but you can join us on Zoom.
If I call in from the golf course, do the guys get a vote too?
Only if
Yeah,
you're
but-
winning her. legitimately winning. Okay, so why don't we, I'll make a motion that we have a meeting, our next meeting be July 9th for the purpose of selecting an OPM selection committee, and we will do that virtually. Can I have someone make that motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Josh.
Is there a time?
In a second. Good question. Afternoon best?
Yep.
Three,
All right,
this time?
3 o'clock?
And-
You should be out of the sun at that hour.
And what I'll do is I'll reserve the conference room downstairs
Mhm.
at City Hall,
Yeah.
because that's really well set up for hybrid meetings.
It is. And if anybody
So
wants to
they-
come in,
Right.
come to City Hall. And otherwise, we'll just do a very short meeting with that one agenda item. Although, is there anything else we should tend to that time?
Not relative to module 2.
No, okay. All right?
We will have another vote on approving the final document, or at least the draft that we hand
Right.
to the
That'll
MSBA.
probably-
But I'm
That'll be,
gonna clarify whether they want to vote before or after the staff has done their review.
question, Dan. To go in November 3rd, we have to put the ad in August 28th.
Or we can do it earlier than
Okay.
that.
All right.
Don't worry about the dates now that we're into November. I can work backwards.
Okay, because the work will have to be done in July and August, just so you know. Okay. All right, so Josh made a motion that our next meeting will be July 9th. It will be remote at 3 o'clock. It will be hybrid at 3 o'clock on July 9th. Can someone make a second?
Second.
Second by Herb. And all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you. And this process will be kind of replicated for the design selection as well. So there will be another round of this kind of work after this is completed, but we have to get the OPM in first. Okay, good.
Does the OPM have a seat at the table for the?
Oh, for the design team?
Yes.
No,
Yeah,
They have
want to
input.
vote.
yeah, but
Okay.
they,
That's good.
yeah, they don't select.
No,
Yeah.
but they have a voice,
Mhm.
a knowledgeable voice, 'cause that's
Yeah,
what they
because
do.
they know.
That's what we'll be talking about in the OPM document, is what is your experience hiring designers for a project the size and scope.
Exactly, yeah.
And they stay through to the end, right? So they're,
You have an option to start over, but generally you don't do that. Who you hire, you stay, you keep them, like feasibility is separate from the project itself.
okay. Well, I guess what I meant was, that their knowledge is used to make sure that the designer and the architect are doing what Peabody wants,
Absolutely.
but also to make sure that the contractor is doing what the designer puts on paper,
Exactly.
right? So that everything is,
They really run the project
yeah,
on our behalf. So we work very closely with them, and that's another thing that's really important. You want people that you can work well with. We had a great experience with Welch, and a good experience with Higgins. And it's so important because that company is our face on site every day,
right.
24/7. And they deal with a lot of the things before it even hits our level. And it really is key to having a good project and having a good process.
Just a quick story to that. When I was in Salem and we built the Bowditch School, in front of the high school on the hill, our OPM picked up the fact that the grade of cement that was used for the foundation was the wrong grade. Made them rip out the whole foundation and put in the right grade of cement.
Yeah. Our OPM on the Welch did things like that too. And it really was important because we're not up on the roof or in the trenches, and they know what they're looking for. And they were very dedicated in that job. It made a big difference, big difference. So this is exciting. This is where it really starts getting very, very busy. I know I've said it to you all before, and you probably thought I was just leading you on. No. you are going to be very busy now. Okay, so that's good. Is there anything else on that, Dan?
Thank you.
Okay, all right. The CTE update. I had put this on because, just to let you know, and I'll have Josh explain it, but the, the MSBA and the DESE are following up on our plans for the CTE program in the new building. So there's a meeting, when?
Wednesday?
Wednesday. Go ahead.
So,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna slide out. If there is a specific committee that you are very interested in, please let me know and Bev know. You know, I kind of have some ideas, we've talked internally, but if there is something specific that you feel that you could really contribute into something that's something that you know, really speaks to you, let us know. And I want to try to accommodate that as best we can because you know, as I said, we've kind of put this committee together with the idea that each of you would be involved in certain things and as well as be a part of the overall picture, but specific tasks and things. But if there is something specific, please let us know. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to slide out. Thank you. Thanks.
See you tonight.
Yes. See you tonight. Good night, everyone.
Okay. All right, so go ahead.
yes, so
Josh.
DESE reached out to us about additional CTE programs that we're looking to add as part of the new build. One specifically that they're interested in talking to us about, which we'd like to hear more about. Every district has a liaison to DESE for CTE programs, and when we were looking at this, the liaison suggested that we put aviation maintenance as a potential program. So we did put that in there. I guess Westfield is one of the only places that has one. Proximity to Logan Airport and Beverly Airport makes us a strong candidate. But it seems like there is a lot involved in it, so we want to get more information on that. So Wednesday, we'll have a meeting about that. If it's cost prohibitive, we'll bring that back because it may be something that is more than we're ready to take on. But if it's not, and it's something that our kids could have a leg up on, and we're close to Logan and Beverly, and we have this opportunity, it could be a good option for us. Salem is not exploring that as one of their programs. So I think the primary discussion will be around this aviation program, but we also want to ask them questions if we were to add a plumbing program, an electrical program, and some of those more trade-specific ones. So we have that meeting on Wednesday, and you know, we could bring an update on July 9th if we wanted to add that to the agenda as well. But I think Brooke and I, you know, are really looking to, you know, ask more questions about that aviation program than anything, just to see, you know, what it would entail and how comprehensive, you know, it would be around the building. And if it's something that's too much, we wouldn't necessarily want to explore it. But if it's something that we think we can do in this period of time, you know, we'll bring it back to the committee. So it sounds interesting. You know, I definitely want to hear a little bit more about what Westfield did and the fact that they're so far away. It might be nice to have something, you know, closer to Eastern Mass. So it should be interesting.
Excuse me, Josh, when you have a program like that that's so sort of, I don't know, there's only one other.
Unique, yeah.
Do you, does that bring students from other communities to our school does that like open up social place or however that works?
It could. Our students would have preference,
Yeah.
and we could choice kids in if that was something that they were interested in doing. So it is a potential option, but we would reserve right for all of our students first.
Okay.
So.
And that one's so specialized, they want you to have a hangar on site. And
So it might not be. And I mean, and so one of the questions that we have
It's a big thing.
is Beverly close enough that we could use a hangar? You know, like those are the questions that we have. I mean, I don't know that we're going to build a hangar on site. But it'd be pretty
the
cool
dome
if
on
we
the
could.
football field's looking
I
good.
think that's expensive, isn't it?
The supplemental bill that uses the millionaire tax money has a earmark for money through the MSBA for CTE sites,
Yeah,
including building quote-unquote annexes. So depending on when that money gets into the pipeline, it may be another source of money we can tap over and above the percentage we are going to get as a result of the calculation that they tell us as our base
yeah.
reimbursement rate.
Because they're trying to increase the seats for vocational education, so now they're looking at comprehensive high schools like Peabody, because it's a good model. A lot of places can't build a regional vocational school, or they can't go into a regional vocational school. The regional vocational schools are full as it is, so they're looking at very different ways of making the opportunity more available to more students in more areas. And that is one.
I wonder if there's an opportunity to partner with General Electric, given that I think their engine plant is in Lynn.
Mhm. They actually partner with Lynn Tech. They actually do, and it's a nice partnership. They've had a good one for a long time over there. Yeah. I don't know if it's specifically for aviation, but I know that they do work with them on engineering.
It's actually an apprentice machining program.
Mhm. Okay. All right, and are there any other questions on that? Okay, and then just one to bring you up to speed, our enrollment certificate was approved. The enrollment that they are recommending is 1,650 students. That number is key because it governs the building and the reimbursement and the cost per square foot. It gives us everything for a budget for a building that size. So you'll hear that number a lot. John?
What did we put in for 2,000, hoping for 15? Do we put in for 2,000, hoping for 1,500?
Yeah, we were hoping for somewhere between 15 and 17.
So we got-
So this is
Okay.
a good number for us, yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah, well, we didn't expect 2,000, but
No, I know, you said, you clearly.
we did ask
Yeah,
for
you
it.
asked
so-
high and you meet. Good.
Yeah, so I think this is a good number for us. I think we're around 1,400 right now. So I think, it gives us a little bit of chance to bring some kids back to the new building.
Nice.
Okay. Anything else? Any ideas? Air conditioning is at the top of the list. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, please send in an email or text the mayor or me. If you've got a specific idea or interest, let us know. I know I've talked about going on the field trips out to the schools. That is absolutely going to happen. We're going to see about, some schools may let us come in this summer. Seeing the building is what is most important to us. So honestly, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if we don't see kids processing through the hallways or how it operates. Being able to see the building and the bricks and mortar is more important. But if there are some schools where we do need to see how it operates, we'll make those during the school year. And school year starts in a few weeks, not to ruin all of your vacations. So we'll make sure that we do that. We actually got take a personal invitation from Liz Benning to go out to Waltham.
Great.
To see Waltham High School, so that would be good. So we're looking at vocational schools, comprehensive schools, and new schools, because they've all got features that we're going to want to see here in this building. Okay. All right. Any other questions or concerns? Okay. And you'll be all right with that virtual meeting in a couple weeks? Okay.
You'll send a reminder.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and we'll send you the link
Yeah,
too.
we'll do,
Council Peach couldn't make it, but I just.
we'll do a meeting invite with the.
Yeah. No, that's okay. This was really just to give you good news and touch base. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Wow, I don't even know who said it.